Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about getting financial approval for a project and one of the important pitfalls you'll need to avoid. Now, getting financial approval can be challenging anyway. You're justifying to management, higher management, the spending of a lot of money to do a particular project. But what that document will ultimately do is authorize purchase orders to be raised and then invoices to be paid, which seems obvious, but actually this is actually one of the key point I want to make. So anyway, as you develop the financial approval document, you will be encountering the various complexities of your project in terms of multiple orders being raised to multiple vendors, multiple funding sources, multiple sources of cost savings, multiple benefits. All of that goes into your financial approval document. It makes it quite complicated to include all of that. And the document needs to be arranged and structured and written in a way that management will understand. It's something that you need to get inside their point of view and produce a document that they will understand, they will feel comfortable signing off. And also the document will need to perhaps match the structure of the organisation. So that can be very different to the purchase orders that actually need to be raised. And you can now start to see how the two can separate. So as you go through the process over and over of amending the document to the point finally when management are able to approve it, you will then have a document that will authorize you in theory to raise the purchase orders and will authorize payment of the invoices that come in. However, as you go through that iterative process, refining the document, hopefully getting to the point where they will actually approve it, you need to never lose sight of those purchase orders, because that's ultimately what it's for. And as you manipulate the document so that it gets approved, you can find that they come apart. So my advice is that you really keep that in mind. As you amend the wording, you think these are the purchase orders, does it marry up? And I'd also recommend that actually put the wording of the purchase orders in the appendix or appendices of the financial approval document. So the document that gets signed off actually includes the wording on the purchase orders. Because if you don't do that, you can end up in a situation where when you submit a purchase order to be raised, the approvers look at the financial approval and say, no, don't see a match between these, and they don't approve your order. And that's not a small deal. That can completely bring your project to a shuddering halt. Because if the financial approval you've been counting on won't actually enable you to raise those purchase orders, you're stuck. And what it means is that you actually go back to the whole project approval stage of the project, way back, some time back. It means that the whole thing has to be looked at again. The whole funding of the project, the timescales will be completely knocked sideways. New quotes may be required from the vendors. It'll incur time simply in the project manager's extra time this is going to take. In fact, it might mean the whole project has to be completely evaluated. I mean, if a particular system, for example, is planned to be implemented before Christmas this year, but this issue means that it won't get implemented till next spring, well, then the question is, do we need the same thing next spring? Is this the right project? Are we tackling it the right way? It completely opens a whole can of worms and brings the whole thing to a shuddering stop. So, be warned. And as I say, the key advice really is to make sure that as you revise, etc., the financial approval document, that it always shows a recognisable link with the purchase order and also including the appendices, the wording you use for the purchase order. Doesn't have to be absolutely spot on the match. There can be some variations that make sense. But what really matters is when your purchase order goes for approval, and it'll be for a lot of money, so it'll go higher up the approval hierarchy, that when it gets to that person, they can see the financial approval and they can see, yep, this is what we're expecting, I'm going to approve it. Really important. So there we are. Please don't fall foul of that. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon.